Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott and how they've been handling the backlash they've received from the Astroworld festival. So a few days after the concert, they both put out some PR statements just talking about how they didn't really know anything was wrong and they didn't think anybody was seriously hurt, and they're basically just defending themselves, which people have trouble believing that they didn't think anything was wrong, because in Kylie's Instagram picture, you could see an ambulance in the crowd, and then also her and Kendall got escorted out of the concert like 45 minutes early or something like that. And also Travis saw the ambulance in the crowd and pointed it out and then just turned around and said, "Let's make the ground shake." And then also he pointed out that guy who's having a seizure and then just continued on the concert. And also apparently Travis went to Dave & Buster's right after the concert, and people are trying to say that he didn't know what happened at the time, but I find that insanely hard to believe. I can't imagine he just walked off stage and jumped in a car and went to Dave & Buster's and nobody told him about what happened, or he didn't check Twitter or anything, because obviously on Twitter everyone was talking about it. And also I think right after the concert he started deleting some posts from Twitter or Instagram, and then the next day after Astroworld, Travis gave that terrible apology that everyone has been mocking. It was in like a black and white filter and he was rubbing his head the whole time, and it just seemed completely insincere. And I think most people would agree that everything Travis and Kylie have done so far does not seem very genuine, and it just seems like damage control. And I also read that Travis hasn't even reached out to some of the families of the people that passed away. It just seems like everyone's kind of worried about themselves in this situation and nobody actually wants to try to help anyone. And I know obviously in a situation like this, there's not much they can do that people are going to be happy with. It seems like their plan right now is just to stay silent until they feel like it's appropriate for them to start posting on social media again, and maybe that's the only thing they can do at this point. I don't know. I know Kendall Jenner is back to posting and people don't really seem to have a problem with that. Like, I see a few people in there complaining, but if you go to Kylie's Instagram and look at her last post, which was before the concert, it is just all hate, and people have been speculating that she's deleting comments and buying back followers. And also W Magazine was supposed to have Kylie and Travis on the cover, and they were supposed to have a whole section, I think, like dedicated to them, and now they're trying to pull it, which I think is the right thing. I don't think you should be putting out a magazine with those two on the cover right now. I don't think that's the best look. And also Fortnite removed Travis Scott's character from the game, and Nike postponed his shoe drop, so it sounds like Nike's not really ready to completely cut ties with Travis Scott yet. They're probably going to wait to see how everything plays out, but this Astroworld situation is not going to be resolved anytime soon. It's probably going to go on for years. There's going to be a lot of investigating that needs to be done. Right now, I think Travis Scott, Live Nation, Apple, and anybody else that helped him put on the concert are being sued for like over $2 billion. And even if Travis decided to start performing again in like a month and Nike decided to release his shoe, I don't think he's going to have the kind of fan base like he used to. He's obviously still going to have a lot of fans, but I think a lot of people are just going to stop listening to him and stop supporting him. I don't see him returning to the public eye anytime soon and not getting any backlash. I think either some evidence is going to have to come out that he didn't do anything wrong, or he's going to have to wait a really long time to return, or he's going to have to prove to people that he's not the guy that people think he is. And who knows how much money he could lose in this lawsuit. Like, this was his festival, so I'm sure he's liable for something. So he's definitely got a tough road ahead of him in terms of changing his public image and getting people back on his side, and then also going through all these lawsuits. But he does have a lot of people on his side. Like, obviously he was sponsored by a lot of major corporations, and then also he's got the Kardashians on his side, so I think eventually he'll be able to come back and people are probably just going to act like nothing ever happened, because once you reach the level he's reached and you have so many businesses relying on you and so many people relying on you, it's really hard to be taken down. Like, when Travis gets in trouble, he's not the only one that looks bad. It also affects Apple Music, Nike, McDonald's, and Fortnite, and the Kardashians in this case. So many people want this guy to look like he's not the villain now. And in terms of public image, I think Kylie's brand could be affected by this just as much as Travis's. And obviously if they were married, that would probably make things like 10 times worse. So Kylie did dodge a bullet there, but she is definitely in a tricky situation now, because she hasn't been posting to Instagram, and every day she doesn't post, she loses out on millions of dollars. And now she has to decide how long is appropriate to wait to start posting on Instagram again. And Kendall and Kylie actually did post to their shared Instagram account, which is for their brand, and of course people were not too happy about that, and they also had to turn off their comments. So they are definitely going to do whatever they can to brush this Astroworld situation under the rug. And that's the problem here, is I feel like since the tragedy occurred, the only thing that they care about is staying relevant and staying staying popular and continuing to make a shitload of money. And I wouldn't be surprised at this point if Kylie broke up with Travis just to try to help her brand and do some damage control. And maybe they won't break up for real, maybe they'll just do it as a publicity stunt, but I think Kylie will probably try to do that just to make herself look better. And also she's having her second kid with this guy, so he's gonna be a part of her life no matter what. But I can guarantee you that her mom is definitely trying to convince her to break up with him right now. And I think I read that they're already removing Travis's part from this new reality show that the Kardashians did that's supposed to be coming out on Hulu or some platform like that. So I definitely think they're going to try to distance themselves as much as possible from him because he is not a good look for them right now. But it's going to be hard to get all the angry fans back on their side because Kylie already came out and defended Travis Scott. So if she breaks up with him and they remove him from the reality show, then it's going to seem like, why did you do that if you think he's innocent and he's not doing anything wrong? And I saw some people getting upset about the fact that the Kardashians are trying to distance themselves from Travis now, and they feel like they're kind of throwing him under the bus. So I feel like people are pretty upset with Kylie now with how she handled this whole situation, and I feel like it's gonna be pretty hard for her to make a comeback to social media anytime soon, especially because her content is pretty much her just being like, oh, look how beautiful I am, look how amazing my life is, look how much money I have. And I think people are already starting to get fed up with that kind of content, but now the fact that her boyfriend and the father of her kids put on a concert where 10 people died, and she's in the crowd taking pictures where you can clearly see an ambulance, and she's trying to act like nothing was wrong, and she gets escorted out early and then jumps to her boyfriend's defense the next day. So I think a lot of people are going to have trouble paying attention to her and looking at her content because her boyfriend put on a concert that was basically hell on earth, and she's just trying to sweep it under the rug and act like nothing's wrong and just start posting again. I don't think people are going to want to pay attention to her selling makeup when a few weeks ago her boyfriend put on a concert where 10 people passed away. And obviously there's nothing Kylie could really do at that concert to help anyone or save anybody, but the fact that she was there and she was taking pictures where you could clearly see an ambulance, and then the next day is acting like she didn't know anything was wrong. And now most people obviously know that her boyfriend's kind of an asshole, so I think people are just disappointed that she'd stick with him. And I just don't think many people want to see her on Instagram right now and taking pictures inside her $30 million home with millions of dollars worth of clothes and handbags around her, while a lot of families are going to be suffering for the rest of their lives because of this show that her boyfriend put on. And her boyfriend really don't even seem to care that much. Like, I read that Travis hasn't even reached out to some of these families. Like, in my opinion, I think it's pretty clear that the only thing that these people are worried about are their own careers. Like, I think Kendall posted on Instagram only a week after Astroworld, and she's on a magazine cover and she's standing in front of a nice car and she's trying to sell makeup. And also Kendall and Kylie posted a video to their shared Instagram account trying to promote their brand. So it just seems like they're trying to move past it as quick as possible because they just want to keep making their money. Like, all we got is pretty much Kylie posting some bullshit PR statement to her Instagram account, and I'm sure next week she's probably going to post a picture of her like in a private jet on the way to a private island to party with a bunch of rich people. And I've heard a lot of people say that Kylie is really broken up about this, which is maybe true, but if that's true, how about she just doesn't post to social media for the rest of the year? I mean, she's one of the most powerful people alive, and her family is probably worth billions of dollars, and she's pregnant right now, and this awful tragedy just occurred, so why not just take a break for a little? Because I think these people just get too wrapped up in becoming the most popular and powerful people and trying to make as much money as possible, and they've gotten to a point where they barely even seem human anymore. Like, nobody can relate to them, nobody can understand them, and they just don't seem genuine at all anymore. Like, that statement that Kylie put out, there's no way she came up with that. Like, obviously a bunch of lawyers or a PR team wrote that for her. But I think when it comes to a situation like what happened to Astroworld, the best thing to do is try to be genuine and act like a real person. And obviously I know she can't say specific things because then that'll be held against Travis in court, but they definitely could have done a better job at just at least acting like they cared about the situation. Like, if the Kardashians just took a break from social media in general for like a few months after the concert and just spent time with maybe some of the families, I feel like that would help a lot. Like, the Kardashians and the Jenners are some of the most privileged people on the face of the earth, and they always want to be the center of attention, and they're pretty much the most popular people on the planet right now, and they want to be the most powerful too, and they have a ton of money. So I think in a situation like this, you really just want to show some humility and show that you're still a normal person, but that doesn't really seem like what they're trying to do here. It just seems like they're trying to make sure that they're still just as popular and they're still making just as much money. Like, if it's true that they're buying followers right now and deleting comments, I mean, come on, that is so pathetic, and they're just shameless. Kylie doesn't care that 10 people died at that concert. cancer. She just cares if her brand is affected by it. It's pretty clear that these people think they're more important than the average person. So in the end, I don't think Kylie's brand is going to be affected by this that much, but she definitely needs to be careful here. So that's about it for this video. Let me know what you think about Kylie's brand and how she's going to try to get past this. And then hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.